Okay, that's it. We live.
I believe so.
All right. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Blues Fans TV. Welcome back to another video. I've got Ian with me, and just go straight into it. Transfer update. There's barely anything to talk about, but we got two big pieces of news that's just come out of the last couple of days. The first one is about the Brook boys up in North London, Arsenal and Spurs, who are both facing a scenario where they're only going to sign players on free transfers. And both of them are fighting it out over one of our own, Willian. Now, the first question I want to ask is, Arsenal or Spurs, which one do you want to see him at least?
Least Spurs.
Least
I want to see him. With David Luiz and Arsenal, I know it's obviously incredibly annoying, but at least you can kind of deal with it, if that makes sense. But seeing him go, the way we see that we, see him getting robbed away from Spurs, as of course we all bang on about. But I think it would hurt more to see him at Spurs because we've ripped him out of their hands, and at least we'll always have that over him, if you get what I mean.
Here's the thing, though. I kind of wouldn't mind, because here's the thing. Think about how we take them away after the contract deal and everything, and then they go and get his remains at 32 years old, and they got to go work with that. Kind of works in my favour. I kind of like that.
Yeah, but he's still a quality player, though. He's still quality. That's what you've got to deal with.
To an extent, but really, I'm not going to lie. I've wanted Willian to go for a couple of years now. I really have.
No, I am the same. But, me and my dad always bang on about big game players, and Willian definitely is one of those big game players, and you just know that he's going to turn up in a game against us. Do you know what I mean? And especially for Spurs.
Really, not even. I'm really looking forward to next season when I see Willian step up to take the corners for one of Tottenham or Spurs, and I won't even have to worry about it.
Tottenham or Spurs?
Tottenham or Spurs, oh my gosh. Spurs or Arsenal.
You're right,
Here's the thing. When it comes to Willian, he's good for 2-3 games in a row, and then the next 5 is just... Yeah, that's been the problem with him. It's been consistency throughout the start.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Willian. I do love him a lot, despite what a lot of people say. But I feel it is time for him to move on. But you still know that you are going to get that few games out of him. But the reason I'd be all up for keeping Willian, it's just the money that he's looking for is completely wrong. Do you know what I mean? The money that
because he wants a 3-year deal, doesn't he?
He wants a 2 or 3 year deal, but it's on big money. And I'm just looking at it going, for inconsistency that unfortunately we keep getting with Willian more recently, you can't afford to pay him that much money when you could be spending it on someone that's going to make these youth players that we've got better.
Here's the thing: for the last 2 seasons, we've had the 2 oldest wingers in the league.
Yeah,
so it has been coming.
With the likes of Mount or Loftus-Cheek, for argument's sake, depending on what goes on with Kante, I think that's a whole separate video itself. But if Kante possibly does move on, you've got a bit of money there, but you're going to be able to spend and everything. But in terms of Willian, if you can get rid of that wage that you don't necessarily need, I know it'll be on a free transfer, I won't get anything for him, but you could still sign 2 quality players from the money you could get from Kante and the money you get and the money you free up then from Willian to protect the likes of Mount, Tammy, even Pulisic as a youngster, Loftus-Cheek, loads of people. You could sign a decent centre midfielder, for argument's sake, and just protect him. That's the thing with Lampard, is that he was allowed to kind of make mistakes at Chelsea because he had such quality around him. If he made mistakes, someone would make up for it. Win the ball back. Right, we go again. We try this, we do that. Where with Willian in the team and taking up that big of a wage that he would, you're going to miss out on that. So some of the players, especially the likes of Mount and Pulisic, obviously attacking minded. Tammy would be all right because he's still going to score goals. But particularly those two, he's still going to, take up a valuable money that would stop them maybe progressing. If you get what I mean?
How much do you think Willian would go for in this market?
I don't think this summer is going to be as big of a market as what people hope it probably is. I think he's still probably worth 30 million quid. But maybe in this market as it's going, I think he could be worth probably 20 or 25 million quid. He's not worth anything less than that, no chance.
I'll give you 20, but I think 30 is a bit much. I think 30, the one thing I will say about Willian, I'll always defend, is that guy barely ever.
For the right team, he's worth 30.
For a right team, what would you say the right team?
For example, like Bournemouth, if you could offer him to Bournemouth for 30 million quid, and they'd go, bloody hell, a player of Willian's experience, winner of this, winner of that, they'd take him in a heartbeat. But for the likes of Tottenham or Arsenal, 20, 25 million is probably about it.
Yeah, to be honest, I think Willian's the Brazilian that's won the most in England, which I think is a crazy stat. And think about it, I don't think there's anyone else.
Maybe, but in England, Willian. Yeah.
Maybe Luiz, but I think it might be Willian. Because Luiz came in and out of England for 2 years, didn't he?
Yeah. Or to be fair, Fernandinho as well. He's won a lot. But never won
Fernandinho, to be honest. The way the Guardiola system's working as well. Hell, even speaking of David Luiz, he could be off in the summer as well. Because Arsenal are trying to free up wages. Apparently, he was meant to be on a 2-year deal, but apparently it was 1 year with the option to extend for a second, and Arsenal aren't willing to extend it.
You can kind of argue why. I mean, he hasn't exactly been wonderful for them.
I thought he was really turning the corner under Arteta, though. I mean, that's what Arsenal fans were saying, at least.
I think the argument Arsenal will probably have is that everyone's turning the corner under Arteta.
I mean, playing like that first half of the season.
Exactly. You couldn't get
it. Yeah, but even then, the case of it, would you say it was all worth it?
What, getting rid of him?
No, I mean, not getting rid of him. I mean, his year at Arsenal. I mean, looking at it from the way... Go on.
His year, David Luiz's year at Arsenal has been completely and utterly pointless. To be completely real, I mean, he's ruined large amount. He's lost a lot of respect in English football. I know it's more specifically from Chelsea fans. He's lost a lot of respect. He would have gone out a club legend, and I saw there was an argument being had in the unpopular opinions video and whatever. He'd have gone out a club legend if he hadn't have gone to Arsenal. Even if he'd have just faded off into the background, he still would have been a club legend. But the year of going to Arsenal has just added nothing to his career. And I'll be completely honest with you, I think it will settle down after 5-10 years, maybe.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about that. Because I did this video yesterday as well. We're asking if David Luiz is going to be is still a cult hero at Chelsea. And literally, I'm about to pose a question to you now. Do you think David Luiz will still be a cult hero once he leaves Arsenal?
He won't be a hero for a few years, but I mean, everyone will look back at. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Chelsea. We could go on and we could be so successful, it's absolutely ridiculous. If that's the case, and we happen to go and we may be another Champions League or even 2 Champions Leagues in the next 5-10 years, say, for example, then the first Champions League team that I currently believe are all cult heroes, legends in their own right, start to kind of move down the pecking order a bit. Do you know what I mean?
People start to forget them a little bit.
I think certain people...
It's a crazy thing to think about, you know.
Because let's be real, in the Champions League final, I mean, 8 years ago the other day, I did a video which UEFA very luckily took down for no reason whatsoever. Yeah, thanks for that. In terms of big game experience in that particular environment, the one that everyone remembers is Drogba. Drogba won that game for Chelsea. You know, Mata, for argument's sake. Mata has joined Man United. No one's been talking about him.
Or he celebrated his goal against us and nobody cares. No one will ever care.
Exactly. Where you look at the ones in that final that have made a big impact, particularly is Cech, already a legend. Lampard, already a legend. Drogba, already a legend. Ashley Cole, already a legend. Gary Cahill, already a legend. But there's not. David Luiz didn't have a wonder game. You know, Bossingwood didn't have a wonder game. No one had a wonder game. The only person that had a wonder game was Drogba. Just like that.
The entire
game. See what I mean? There's that argument where I just kind of feel like if you were to ask me now to name the 2009-10 winning team that won the league, I know what I'm saying. Still, I'm talking about the ever presence. Cech, Terry, Drogba, Lampard, Cole, even Anelka, and things like that. But there is certain people that start to kind of move out of the way a bit, if you get what I mean. Just kind of slip.
If you tell a bunch of people that Matic was in that 2010 team, they'd be surprised.
Exactly.
You wouldn't even notice that.
Exactly, and that's the thing I think with David Luiz is I think in years to come, if Chelsea are really successful, which I don't know. I don't necessarily know. Sorry, I did also see just in the chat. Czech did also have a wonder game. I apologise about that. In terms of in years to come, if Chelsea are really successful, really successful, then the likes of Luiz unfortunately just get missed out in years to come. So he becomes a fan favourite for a few years, but he kind of peters into the background. If Chelsea don't win the Champions League for another 10 years, which I think is possibly quite likely, it's just the fact that he would still be a club legend. People will forget that he had a stint at Arsenal because he did nothing. It's not like he scored an incredible goal against us or he beat us in a cup final or whatever. He wouldn't have done that. So I think a lot of people still... I think a lot of people will start to kind of forget about it, and he's just another Chelsea legend that played in that Champions League final.
Well, let's link this back to Willian news then, because one of the big reasons why people are saying Willian could be going to Arsenal was his links with David Luiz. If David Luiz leaves Arsenal, does that open the door more for him to move into Spurs instead?
I think it would. I'll be honest with you. A little bit exclusive, I suppose. I know two of the members of Willian's media team, as you would call it. And I know...
Say no more.
Yeah, I can only release so much, but all I know for an absolute fact is he's doing a great amount of charity work in my particular area around here in West London. He's doing a lot of charity work, which is great, of course, but he's very comfortable being here in London. That's the main point that I've got from those two, is he is very comfortable being here in London. So if the question is, are you going to stay in London? Is that the most important thing? For Willian, yes, it is. So I don't think he cares which one of the two he goes to. So I think it could purely be down to money. That's what I think he's going to be in for. If Tottenham could afford to spend money on him, I know it might be a free transfer. If Tottenham could afford to pay the money, or if Arsenal couldn't afford to pay the money, you'd probably assume it'd be Arsenal more likely to pay the money than Spurs. Obviously, Spurs just got a new stadium. I don't know. I wouldn't say that David Luiz moving would be that drastic. Do you know what I mean? I think Willian still goes to wherever has the most money, because if David Luiz is the connection, you can still go out and meet up with him for dinner and stuff. You can still have a social life.
They run the same restaurant, don't they?
Exactly.
Quick question before we move to the next piece of news. How bad's my internet? Because I'm getting a couple messages in the comments section saying that my internet's a bit dead.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see. Can you see me, or is it just what's wrong?
It's blurry, but there we are. It is what it is.
What's the audio saying? Is that good at least?
To be fair, you've got your hat on, which is probably blocking a little bit of light, which will probably take away from it. But I know what's underneath there, so
lifting it up a bit more. But that's it, because my trim is it's a mess. I look like a microphone. I'm not doing it. On to the next piece of news, though. We're talking. Chelsea are interested in Brentford's Algerian Messi, Said Benrahma, apparently. Yep. With Callum Hudson-Odoi and Pulisic potentially being Lampard's only two first-team wing options next season. Hell, might even be only Pulisic, depending on what happens with Callum Hudson-Odoi. But that's a story for another time. We're going to leave that. Chelsea are hoping to steal a march on rivals Arsenal and Tottenham, who, like you said before, need to be able to sell before they can buy in the next transfer window. Right. And we're interested in Said Benrahma, who, in my opinion, would be the creative depth that we've missed in Chelsea. When you look at our bench, that's been a big problem for us over the last couple of years, that we don't have the right players that we can bring off the bench. And even if you look back to when we had Eden Hazard, like back in the 18-19 season, do you remember when we had to bring him out in games against Vidi and stuff like that because we just couldn't find a way through and because we lacked that creativity in the final third? And I feel like someone like Said Benrahma is going to be the player that he isn't going to ask for a lot of minutes. He's still young. He can still develop. It won't be that hard of a step up from the Championship to the Premier League. And going forward, he offers that. What's the right word for it? He asks a lot of questions of defenders. He's a great one-on-one player. He's got a lot of skills about him. He's got the passing range to match as well. For 35 million, it's not a bad deal, is it?
I think 35 million might be a bit steep, just a bit steep, personally. But there we are.
Really?
Yeah, I think.
In what sense?
I think the thing with Brentford is they know they've got they've got a quality talent. I was going to say world class, and I can't guarantee that. They've got a potential world class talent, and they know that he's going to be worth a few quid, which is fair enough. You know, you've got to know your player's worth. But I think maybe they may be kind of trying to compensate because they'll probably argue that they're going to break up their lethal front three and what's the centre forward, Watkins, that he links up with brilliantly well. His game's going to be impacted. So although you're taking away one player, you're going to take away two, or you're going to take away 1.5. Do you know what I mean? So I think they're maybe trying to push for a little bit more than he's actually worth. So I think he's worth 20, 25, 30 million probably. It depends. But the thing with Chelsea, I mean, we always keep banging on about our loan system. If you sent a decent loan player out to Brentford,
You want a Charlie Masunda or something?
they would be very happy with that.
Yeah, send him over for a season. Might even have a knock to buy.
I think if Chelsea did it right, we could get him for a good deal, and possibly send a loan player the other way, or even a transfer the other way if there's someone they really like. I don't know. I think we could get him for more. I think we could get him for less than 35 million.
You think? Here's the thing, because we were talking about it before we start the stream. The new stadium, I think that could be a big factor in the transfer fee as well.
They need money.
Definitely need money.
I live near enough that neck of the woods. I've been past it. Lovely ground, looks quality. It's not cheap. It's not cheap at all. Compared to Griffin Park that they've had for years, that's been a lovely little ground, but it's it's old, it's dated. They've survived for a good while on having a below average facilities, I suppose you could say, but they need the money to pay that back. So I think they may be trying to ask more because they know it's going to go a bit further. He's clearly a talented player, but the argument could possibly be had saying that if Watkins wanted to move, would they be asking for the same money? Who knows? They know he said publicly that he wants to stay in London. I get that. I do appreciate that. But at the same time, if you want to stay in London and you know that the three main clubs in London all need a winger, you're going to put the price up a bit, aren't you?
Exactly. Yeah, here's the thing as well. Because of that, because of how much they need the money with a new stadium, isn't now the best time to go for him?
I think if you went to them 20, 25 million, I think they should consider it at 20. At 25, they should take it. If you offered them 30, he's yours. But 35 just seems a bit nutty. It's almost as if they left themselves. Do you ever watch Porn Stars, the program, where they deal with different?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought this was going on a different level for a sec, but yeah.
Yeah, no. You see people, like, oh, I think this coin's worth $100,000. It's not, but you give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. That's what I think.
You think it's a little bargaining tactic? Okay.
Yeah, I think it is. I do think it is, and you can understand it. Look, they need money. Simply put, they need money. They've got an asset. They're deliberately making their team worse. But let's be completely real. If they found him before, they can find him again.
Here's the thing. I think when it comes to bargaining, they're going to have a hard time anyway because they're going to be dealing with Marina.
Yep.
But I don't know. Maybe I think you kind of turned me on it a little bit. Yeah, we could take the price tag down a little bit, couldn't we?
We definitely
could. Yeah, okay.
And if we can, we should get him in a heartbeat, yeah.
All right, well, let's take a look through some of the comments quickly just before we wrap all of this up.
Yeah.
Someone said, what's happened with Jeremy Boga? I think what's happening now is that Chelsea have and Sassuolo have removed the buyback clause now, haven't they?
I'm not sure about that, honestly.
I think they have. I think so. I'm not sure, but I think I'm like 90% sure because even over the last couple of months, it's looked clear that Chelsea aren't going to try and get Boga back. Boga seems happy at Sassuolo. Sassuolo don't want to get rid of him, and I don't think Lampard's going to make any serious attempt to bring him back either. Nah. Do I think it's the right decision? I'm not going to lie, Boga's a talented youngster, but if he wants to stay at Sassuolo, then it's fine. Eventually, we have a lot of young players, and I think with the way with the way the system is, we got to get used to seeing some of our youth players that we don't want to see leave. I mean, we've already seen it now with Tariq Lamptey, or we've even seen it back before at the past, and the names are endless. But it is still something that we're going to need to get used to. And in fact, that throws me another question to you. All the youth players that you've seen starting at Chelsea this season, is there any that you think he might not make it? Out of the ones that have all started this season. Tammy?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I want him to.
Okay.
I want him to make the cut. I want him to be it, but I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Is it that you don't think he'll do it, or do you think out of everyone he's the lowest?
In terms of Hudson-Odoi has got it. When Bayern were interested in it, you were always still going to have that, that behind you, if you get what I mean. So there was always going to be an interest there from Hudson-Odoi. So he's fine. I think he's going to be more of one of our less productive players, but he still had interest from elsewhere, so he's going to be okay. Reece James is quality. Mason Mount is quality. I think if they get that wrong, Mason Mount could be shafted. But I'm with you on this, and we both love Mason Mount. I think he's highly.
Mason Mount just lacked execution in the Christmas period, but bar that, he was a great player.
Exactly, and that happens again. He's a kid. He's 21. He was 20 at the time, over the Christmas period.
First season at Chelsea, I said the whole season they all get a free pass.
Exactly, they do. But Tammy's the only one that I look at, and I think certain chances maybe he should have buried. He's 22, 23.
22, I think.
22, okay. You look at certain things that he's doing, and you're thinking, oh, okay, that's all right, I suppose. You look at certain chances that he's missed, and you think, that's a sitter. You should definitely be scoring that. At least score.
Yeah, there was a couple at Bayern, weren't there?
There was, yeah. And also, what was the other game as well? I can't really remember it now. One of the lesser teams. Villa, maybe? I think he's scoring that. He got an assist, I think.
No, Villa he scored. Yeah, he got a goal and assist against Villa.
I think there was a few in that he should have thrown himself at and, tucked one home. There's question marks around there, if you get what I mean. Chelsea have
I know which one you're on about, yeah.
I know a lot of people often criticise Chelsea's centre-forwards, but Chelsea have been blessed with many good centre-forwards. Drogba, Diego Costa, Torres even. I know that he didn't have the best time at Chelsea. Morata and stuff as well. I know that's a bit of a stretch, but even he used to bury chances when they were put in front of him. Batshuayi buries chances when they're put in front of him.
Yeah.
Some of the time where Tammy doesn't bury chances when they're put in front of him, it's not worrying yet. Do you know what I mean? But it's just like slight little alarm bells.
You just noticed it, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like that's not what we want for a. For a.
Here's the thing. The one thing I'll say with Tammy is I think he was really overplayed this season. I think that played a key factor into that. Yeah. Honestly, Giroud should have had so much game time in the first half of the season. If he did, I think we would have seen a lot more output from Tammy Abraham, because there is those alarm bells. He has had 15 goals this season, which for his first season at Chelsea is great. But you also need to recall that he's only had 3 league goals since November, and then you're just thinking, what? And here's the thing: I don't think Tammy Abraham is not going to be good at Chelsea. I still think I'm with you on this one. I still think he's going to develop, but I think outside factors have kind of made him not regress, but kind of hold him back a little bit.
Yeah, I want to see him be a big success, but there's just slight little alarm bells ringing. That's the only thing. I think we've got a really good core of youth players, but in terms of Tammy, it's just the only one that I just have alarm bells going, oh Christ, that's maybe not ideal.
Okay, well, looking at the comment section, a lot of people aren't agreeing with us, which, to be honest, I like, because that means a lot of guys are backing Tammy as well, which is good. I like the support. Keep the support going. Let's see. Craig, see your point, but Tammy more of a finisher than Mishi. Here's the thing.
We're not talking about Batshuayi yet. We're not talking that. He's gone. He is gone. No one cares.
Yeah, he's finished.
No one cares about Michi anymore.
Sorry, after that United game, I lost a lot of respect for his finishing, because there was 3 chances in the first half that he really should have put away.
It's I feel really sorry for him because the thing is, when you get a player and you look at him and just think, oh, I really hope you do well at our club and I really hope you supply some big moments. And I know for Belgium in the 2016 Euros, he was a bit of a tap-in merchant. Nothing wrong with that. You're still in the right place to score the goal. That's fine. But when he scored that winner against West Brom to win us the league, I looked at it and went, this is his Chelsea highlight. Do you know? And this is after the first season. I'm just like, oh shit, there we go.
Oh, bro, I really wanted him to do well as well because
I do as well. I think he's quality.
You see him on social media. I'm like, seriously, if this guy's a 20-25 goal a season striker, do you know how entertaining the guy is? But on the pitch,
I know it's so annoying. But I was saying to my dad earlier on, Mitchie is a good striker if you ask him to do one of two things. If you ask him to finish first time, he's fine. If you ask him to take a touch and bang, he's okay. But if you ask him to do anything else, no, not the player you want. Not the player you want. You want him to hold up the ball, he'll struggle. You want him to play and do a little bit of link up, he'll struggle. You want him to try and run past people and then bend one bottom corner, he'll struggle. It's not for what is a mathematical upside, we're not getting anywhere near it.
Yeah, just look at his three best moments at Chelsea and look at it. It's all cutbacks into the same ball and he hits it first time. West Brom, it was the same. Atletico, Ajax, all the same.
It's the same goal 3 times. That's
any more questions before we go? Someone asked if Tellez 100% going PSG. I think that deal's done now.
I don't know. I'm not sure of that one. I haven't seen that one. I must be honest.
Okay, I think Tellez is going PSG, more or less, but I don't think it's confirmed, but more or less confirmed.
That's gutting.
Someone said Tammy Abraham trips over the ball a lot. Dribbling, another thing that's developing, but again, developing. I still say first season's been fine.
He's a big lad, and I know that I know that's not necessarily an excuse, and I know he's a professional footballer, but he is a big guy. I've done coaching for many years. The one thing you say, especially if you've got a player that is of a bigger build, especially a taller build as well, make sure you get a good first touch. Make sure you can keep the ball under control. And sometimes I just think that lacks a bit, I suppose, a bit.
I'll say that's another area for improvement, we'll say. A lot of people talk about Tagliafico in Chelsea as well. Apparently Chelsea have the all clear for 22.4 million, which I'm not going to lie, I will just take a left back. Really, I will take a left back. Anybody at this point, I don't care.
Which one would you get rid of, Alonso or Emerson?
I'd say Emerson. Yeah, Alonso as a left wing back keeps his Chelsea job, in my opinion. But all we've had is that first month of the season, and that's it. He was one of the best left backs in the world in the first half and the first month, and then he had that one injury, and he just never came back to form.
I think with Emerson, as much as I do like him, I'm a big fan of Emerson. Alonso is more likely to get you the goal factor. And I know that sounds a bit cringy, and I know he doesn't get forward that often, but if you've got an eye for goal, which Emerson has shown in parts, but is nowhere near as good as Alonso is, I think you try and do that, because you're not going to get as much money for Alonso. You are going to get more money for Emerson, but you're going to get more in terms of going forward with Alonso than you are with Emerson. It just seems like an obvious deal.
That's the thing. More or less, you know what you can get with Marcos Alonso. Marcos Alonso, I don't want to put him anywhere near a left back position, but if we're playing 5 at the back, he's one of the first names on the team sheet. Emerson, let's be real, he ain't the first name on the team sheet for 4 at the back or 5 at the back. So I think it'd be better.
The other thing as well with Alonso, very quickly, is he's tall. So if you do have to play a back 4, you can slightly get away with it, because if he isn't going to get out jumped at the back post, because he's just
as long as he don't go any further forward in the left back position, I don't really mind.
Yeah,
just when he gets forward, he can't get back.
Yeah.
Last bit of news before we wrap this all up. What was it? Rafa Benitez interested in going back to Newcastle, and if he did, he wanted Ross Barkley to be one of his first additions.
I did not know that, but
that's one I do know about.
It depends what the money is. If they turn around and say we'll give you 20 million for him, we sign him for 15.
See, that's the thing with Ross Barkley. That's why he's always been profit for me. Because, Marina's always at her best when it comes to selling players. And we brought in Ross Barkley for 15 million. Regardless of what happened with Ross Barkley, we were going to make a profit on him anyway.
Yeah. Do you know, for my mental state, what I quite often do is I try and imagine that we paid 40 million for Ross Barkley and only 15 million for Danny Drinkwater. It doesn't work like that, but it's just from my mental state.
How does that help?
Well, yeah, because you can see flashes of a £40 million player, Ross Barkley, but you definitely don't see flashes of a £40 million player in Danny bloody Drinkwater.
Yeah, but you see more of Ross Barkley. The last 2 games, I wouldn't mind that mental state, but everything else, I'd start punching myself.
The thing with Ross Barkley, one thing I will say is he's not going to be a world beater at a big club. That's my personal opinion of him. He's a solid player. The problem with
Barkley is that he plays like he is one.
Yes, agreed. If you want to go into a slightly smaller club and you want to have a bit of an ego about you, that's fine, that's okay. But if you want to go and be Champions League level, which is what Chelsea should be aiming for all the time, pretty much, you can't have that same attitude.
Exactly. I'm going to give him credit for the last 2 games. I'm always going to keep bringing that up, but it's just the 2 games. That's the thing. I've seen so much drab Barkley performances. I don't want to be sold off 2 games, even though literally if we had that Barkley for the last 2.5 years, no one would complain.
Yeah,
nobody would complain.
To be fair, our midfield is one of our strongest areas in terms of depth, and when you've got a meant to be in prime of his career centre midfielder at the 5th or 6th pick in terms of the pecking order. Yeah.
Kind of saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I think that's a perfect time to round up. We're going to round up here, guys. If you guys want to see more streams like this, let us know down in the comment section below, because I know there's been barely any content coming from us. So if you guys want to see more content like this, trust me, this will be the first thing we'll start doing. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to Blues Fans TV. We are crawling on the road to 100k. We'll hit that soon enough, but we need every subscriber possible to do that. So if you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out Craigo28 as well. His channel will be down in the description as well. I'm going to sort that out as soon as this is done. Don't forget to check out Carefree Luiz G as well. And we will see you guys very, very soon. Take care. Up the Chelsea.
Up the Chelsea.